Greetings. I thought I'd give a little tour of Unreal Engine. This is Unreal Engine 4.2.7. You may hear my dog in the background. He's running around, chewing a bone. Okay. One of the best kind of introductory projects for Unreal is doing a little grayboxing exercise. You can get a feel for moving stuff around, turning on the play option and having the first person player kind of run around, that kind of thing. So I thought I'd give a little tour of Unreal and we could talk about grayboxing and do a little demo of that as well. Okay, so this is the first person template. You can see here you've got a little first person template text item down here. If you click on that, you can actually see template label is highlighted here. And this is true with anything. If you click on any of the items in your viewport, you can see them light up over here, and then vice versa. You can click on things here and see them light up over here. I think that's really handy is, say, you want to edit a Q8 and you want to zoom in on it, you can double click on it and it'll zoom you into it, which is very useful. Let me go ahead and turn on the keyboard view. Okay, this is going to be useful a little bit. Let me move this to a place that feels a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and play, just to get familiar with the keyboard. You're going to see me use WASD. I'm going to hold the right mouse button down. You can't see that, but I'm holding the right mouse button down and using W, you can see I'm going to move forward and then A, sort of strafing left and right, A and D, and then S is going to move backwards. And again, I'm sort of pointing the nose. You can kind of think of like wherever your nose is pointed is where you're going to go. And then I think I might be able to jump up on this with a spacebar. Might not be quite jumpy enough. We may have to make a little small block to do that. Maybe that'll be a fun first thing to do. Okay. And then if you want to fly out, you can do that. Actually, I'm going to hit escape. I'm out of play view. And these still same controls, WAS and D. Move you around. But you'll see you're sort of no longer connected to the first person character, which is what I just clicked on right here. But what's nice about being out of play view is you can really zoom out and get a view for your entire scene. Okay. So a couple things. When you first open Unreal Editor, it's pretty overwhelming. There's a bunch of stuff. One kind of basic thing up here, which a lot of people never paid any attention to, is this is your project details up here. So you can see the name of your project, the engine version 4.2.7, the build configurations development, the build date. That build date is not your date when you last saved. It's when the 4.2.7 build was built, and a little bit about your graphics. Let's see, if I hold down the shift key here, you can see this is some information about the data drive data cache and everything like that. It's good to see if you have like memory or speed issues. Checking this stuff out is useful. This is quite useful, and a lot of people just get annoyed by it, and it's understandable why. But if you click on Show Available Tutorials, you can get a Blueprint First Person Template Overview, which is quite similar to these two are kind of combined. What I'm going to go over today, there's a bunch of great stuff here in the First Person Template Overview as well. The basics is also really good. Blueprints, editors, code. Don't sleep on these tutorials. They're really worth doing if you're new to Unreal Engine. Okay. So a couple things. This is your basic viewport, right? This is your world outliner. So this is your world. This is the outline view of your world. It's a way to think about it. You can see also with the type of objects, a static mesh actor, each one of these cubes. And you can also see the names of things, like for instance, Unreal calls this the big wall 2. This is big wall 1, wall 3, wall 2, wall 1, etc. And you can see some more kind of abstract things like this post-process volume and also the light mass importance volume. We won't go into those details today. You can kind of leave those alone for now. Okay. So this, again, all the stuff in your world, this is the way to see all your stuff in the world. you can move your your panes here like this. You can move it like this. You can move it like this. And you will do this a lot, especially if you're on a laptop with a 13-inch screen, which is what I have. It's not what this is, but it's what I often am using. Now the details view here, right, is the attributes of each of these objects. So we click on big wall here, we can see the scale is 4 by 12 by 3. And we click on this little cube here, we can see the scale is 1.5 by 1.5 by 1.5. We can also see the mobility of the objects, whether it's a static, stationary, movable object. This is a static mesh, and here it's the 1 meter cube. This is the materials applied. This is physics. This is a question many people have in Unreal Engine, is they want to know, like, if I move something up in the air and I want it to fall when gameplay begins, simulate physics will make that happen. If you look at some of these other objects, though, these walls, this big wall here, these do not have physics simulated on them. So if you lift this up and then you play the game, it's going to stay up where it is, which is, useful if you want to make overhangs or something like that. Okay. This here is a very important view. This is your content browser. This looks like a folder view, like Mac Finder, Windows Explorer, whatever. Let's go back one level in the content. This is where most of your stuff is. I'm going to move this keyboard out of the way because I just want to show one thing. If these are kind of too giant for you or too small, you can go into view options here and scale these thumbnails down, which is nice. I like them kind of small because as your project gets more complicated, more of this stuff kind of shows up. Okay, so click into first person. You can see you've got some stuff about the first person character. There's also the first person blueprint folder. We'll dig into that a little bit later, perhaps. Starter content. When you said add starter content when you made a project, this is all that stuff. Okay. Let's see, anything else? Collisions, lighting, rendering, navigation, lots of stuff down here. So this again is all the details of each of these objects. Now, if you're like, okay, I want to add new stuff into my scene, a kind of basic way to do that is to use these this place actors tab up here, and you can go into the basic tab and say like, oh, I'm going to drag a cube in, and here it is. I'm going to double click on it. Oops. Zoom into it. Now you'll notice it drug in and it just kind of threw it into the kind of basic pile of stuff over here. But you'll notice what Unreal did in this template is they made folders. So you can have all your stuff kind of grouped. And what I'll do is I'll take this cube and drag it into here. And so you can see it now. A thing you'll often want to do is be like, okay, I want to make another one. So I'm going to copy and paste it. If I do Command-C, Command-V, you made another one. Here, you can see it, but notice you don't see it here, and that's because it's been copied and pasted right on top of the other one. So there's the original one. This is your new one. And you can do it again. You can also shift-click, do Command-C, Command-V, and you're going to get even more. Oops. Pretty cool. Okay. What else? Cones, cylinders, planes. You can do an awful lot especially when you're grayboxing out a level with this basic tab here. Lights. I won't get into lighting in this demo, but there are 2 lights that come built in to the first person template. That is your light source right here, and that is this light source right here. And if you look at details, you can do things like change the angle, change the shadow exponent. Let's see. Oh, I scrolled down too far, I think. This is your intensity, so how bright it's going to be. And then you also have a skylight, and that skylight is right here. And you can see the details of your skylight here. Now, you'll see this little eyeball icon up and down everything. If you want to hide something, but you don't want to delete it, click on it. You can see we selected a cube here. Turn it off, goes away. Turn off and turn back on the visibility of these cubes. And these will stay invisible when you hit play. And that also holds true for, no, I'm just having a drink of water. That also holds true for things like light sources. You can see the lights have gone out, and the light mass importance volume. Okay. What else? What else? What else? Content browser, all your actors. Oh, one quick thing. If you're on a laptop, you may notice that your sort of top toolbar looks something like small. It looks like this, and it's quite annoying to get over here to things like the play option and stuff. It's kind of a pain in the butt. So one thing you can do is go into your preferences. There's a ton of preferences in here. And a really quick one is this one, use small toolbar icons. You can click it, and now they're much smaller. So if you're on a laptop, that's pretty useful. Something to think about. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that for now. As a beginner, it's kind of nice to have the text beneath each of these. And a quick tour of these. Save current. Save current is something you're going to want to do a lot of. Always save your work. It's a good idea. If you're using source control, this will be useful. If you aren't using it separate or some other kind of source control system, this won't be important to you, so don't worry about it. Modes also, you don't have to worry about right now. Content is just going to open up this content browser tab. Marketplace is where you can go to get stuff, free or paid. Lots of good settings. Down in here. There we go. Most of these aren't going to be too important to you out the gate. I'm trying to think if there's anything. You can hide the viewport UI. You want to get rid of this stuff, which is kind of nice, especially if you're doing like a screen share demo or something. So play is probably the most important one that you're going to use a lot. So go ahead and if you hit play, now you've possessed the first person character, and you can use again WAS and D along with your right mouse button held down to drive around the level. Okay, I'm going to hit escape. That'll get me out of the play mode. That's a pretty good tour. Let me move some stuff around just so you can get a sense of that. If you want to, say you wanted to make, most people who want a gray box out of level are going to make something bigger than this. So a thing you can do is grab this floor, do Command C, Command V, drag the floor out. If you wanted to get exciting with it, you could like make it so you have to like jump onto the next floor level. Let's go ahead and copy and paste another one. Create a little excitement and precarity by not making them snap. And then you can move your walls. And again, because these walls don't have physics applied, you could even have them hang out here, and they're gonna like Wile E. Coyote. They're just gonna hang out here and not fall. Well, I guess Wile E. Coyote did eventually fall. And you can copy and paste these walls and build out your level doing that. And again, if you wanted to get really fancy and save yourself a lot of time, you can select them all, do Command C, Command V. Oops, I missed one. Pull it out. And again, you can do Command C, Command V and make something even taller. Like this. And again, because physics isn't turned on, let's double check and make sure physics isn't turned on. Simulate physics, not turned on. You'll see you'll have these walls kind of floating, those kind of sci-fi, these kind of wall panels are floating in space. You can also do things like rotate this object, rotate it at 90 degrees, go back to the translation tool, translates another fancy word for move, and you can build out a second floor. Or a roof that is also a second floor, however you want to think about it. Maybe we'll make one fun you have to kind of jump out on. And then let's go here. And how about we use here. Now this cube does have simulate physics turned on. So if you don't have it set right onto your surface, it's going to kind of drop from the sky and fall to the nearest static mesh. Let's see what we can get away with here. I'm going to make another one. I'm going to make this one. I'm going to go again into details view, change the scale of this to say 0.75, oops, 0.75, 0.75, 0.75, oops, 0.75. Actually, I'll give myself a break. Notice the red arrows here match with the red X here, so X, Y, Z, easy as RGB. Shout out to Michael Jackson and Jackson 5. Oops, wrong direction. Also 0.75. Make that 150, really big. Let's make this one. And bring it down. That should let us hop up on it. And then let's copy and paste that. Give ourselves another one here. Let's see what that does. Well, let's just run up here and see if we can get how far we get. Okay, so again, what's going to happen, right, is this is the location of our first person character. So when we hit play, we're going to spawn in right here. See this first person, but we can get rid of that label. Just hit the delete key. We could have hidden it also. And let's go and play and see what happens. So you can see, yeah, so we made our little blocks appear, but what we didn't do is make anything to get us up onto the cube. So let's do this. Command C, Command V. What I'm doing is just trying to make enough stair-steppy items to get us up onto the roof, or at least up high so we can see. Okay, now let's try it. We'll hit play. There's our cube. Now we can definitely jump up here. I don't know if we can jump up here. Nope, we can't. So again, escape. And so grayboxing out, right? This is exactly what you want to be doing, is you want to be getting a kind of grip on the scale of your environment, how big things should be. I think even if it's, this box could be, a placeholder for something like a dumpster or something, right? But you don't really care about that at this point. You just care that it's, roughly dumpster shaped like a cube. One. Then what I'll do is make it a little harder. Making levels like this always makes me think of like parkour or something. Running around urban environments. And 2, 5. Rotate it around. Translate it back. I'm going to hit play. Let's see if you can see it. It fell. Notice it fell, but I thought we could see it fall, but it looks like we didn't make it. Okay, and now we have jumped up here onto here. And if we had even more steps, we could get all the way up, but we don't. But as you can see, the player's up pretty high. And if you run off the edge, you'll fall to the ground. All right, it's a pretty little tour of first steps, kind of adventures into grayboxing. You can move all this stuff around, make cool urban environments, and get familiar with the engine. That's it. If you have any questions, give me a shout.